Hey everyone, Egman here with another video, and today we're doing a top 10 ranking of the 10 super rares that are coming in the 1.5 set that releases tomorrow, which I'm really excited for, and it took me way too long to figure out there are only 10 super rares in this set, mostly because there's just so many dang good super rares. All of them kind of have their own deck built around them. A lot of them have a lot of power, and they're just all crazy powerful. So it's going to be a really cool set, I think, coming forward, and it's going to shake up the meta a lot. So if you guys are planning on getting any product for 1.5, please consider using my TCG player link in the description below. If you use that link and then you buy cards, I get a little bit of a kickback, and I really appreciate it. And it just helps out the show and everything else. And pretty much like any of the money I make with that pretty much goes into my Twitch streams and all the giveaways I do with that. But enough self-promoting. Let's go into my rankings for the 10 super rares that are in 1.5. Starting at the low end, we've got Gran Kuagamon. I really felt like this is a set 1 BT1 card, and it really kind of shows. It's just a big boy 11-drop green card. It has piercing, and then your turn, this kit's plus 4k DP, so it could, trade with an Omnimon, or if you have like an Agumon or anything else. Green has a lot of things that boost their own power. You can attack over an Omnimon, and then it has piercing, so all that's kind of good. But man, I think this needed to be in 1.0 and not 1.5. I don't think it's going to do a lot of damage in 1.5. There's so many better level 6s going on for it, and it just doesn't do much that anymore. So I think this is probably the only like big stinker card that comes from this set, but it's still all right. I think also if it was a devolution cost of 3, it would have been I think it would be way more playable too. But with a devolution cost of 4, and especially with a hidden potential discovered getting down to 1, I don't think this card is going to be really good moving forward, which really sucks just because it could have been really good if it was part of 1.0, but since it wasn't, it's just kind of really obscure for this set. So that's for the 10th spot. But moving down the line, we've got Cranium, and honestly, I really like Cranium. I don't think it's terrible. It's just, once again, it's a big 6-drop blocker with 12k DP, devolution cost of 4. There's a big difference between having that cost of 3 and 4, especially like if you're running a more control deck and you have a Tamer out. Being able to make it a 3 and keep it on your turn is a huge difference with it. But with Cranium, it doesn't matter too much because you're able to get a big boy blocker out. You want to keep him active mode most of the time anyways. But it kind of sucks if you want to go from him to like Millenniummon or like the new Omnimon Ultra S as well. But he's still like a good card. You can still like hard cast him, and you have like this big blocker that your opponent really can't do anything about. You can get him to 0 DP and then he dies because he dies of a game mechanic, but not a card effect technically, because he has an all turns. Your Digimon with blocker can't be deleted by your opponent's effects. So I think he's a good card, and I think there's going to be more support for him down the line, and he's all right. But there's just the thing about black is that it just doesn't really have an archetype in BT3. It has some kind of good stuff, especially when you look at the red black stuff. But I don't think it's quite there quite yet, and that's why Craniumon's just here at number 9. Moving to number 8. I don't know if I don't know if any of these are controversial, but I've been playing a lot of BT5 for the last month, and All Force Vidramon is a fun card and it does a lot, but I feel like if you get this guy off and you're already winning the game, right? I feel like there's just better plays you could be making anyways. He is cool though. Your turn when one of your blue Tamer cards becomes suspended, unsuspend this Digimon, so you get like a dual attack with it. Also, your turn once per turn when this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, gain 1 memory. So there's just like a bunch of cool things that happens with him, and a lot of like untapping and unsuspending and like memory gaining and everything like that. But I don't know. I feel like there's just better stuff for blue in the spot, and it's just it's a bit of a glass cannon for it. And then like if you just can't get to this guy consistently, then you're just kind of out of luck a lot of the ways. So he's okay. I like him, but I don't think that the deck itself is very strong. I think there's just better options for blue right now. Next up is Ceres Garurumon. The more I've seen this card, the more I liked it, so maybe this should move up a little bit in the spots, but he's just a big level 6 with reboot, and then he has a devolution cost of 4, and for either black or red, which is kind of neat. And then also when digivolving, reveal 1 card from the top of your deck for each of your Digimon. For each Digimon your opponent has in play, you may play 1 black or red Digimon card with level 5 or less among them without paying its memory cost. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. I like this card a lot. I think he has like just being able to play this guy and get a body out potentially is really good. The RNG kind of sucks with him. That's I think the only thing. But for something like if you're in a spot where you're like behind the game, being able to play this and then being able to like free play a blocker are it's black or red too, so you could also be like the Skull Greymon to pop one of theirs blockers. I think there's a lot of good targets for this guy. It's just RNG kind of sucks for him. He's also a Digivolution cost for 4 as well, which just doesn't make a lot of sense for, like, since he has reboot. If he was a 3, I think he's well costed at 4, but with reboot you kind of want to be able to have a card that you can swing with and then reboot with it, and then it's kind of hard. 4 is just like that memory gap where you start to have a hard time being able to play the card and swing with it on the same turn, so it's just kind of awkward from there. But I think this card is cool. It has a lot of potential. It sucks that it's RNG based a little bit. I know there's some cards moving forward that give black a little bit more of their top deck knowledge for it, but this could definitely just win you the game by hitting the right card, which is really powerful. Next up is Imperial Dragon Mode. I like this card a lot. It's still like it's a little bit cheesy, like All Force Vidramon, to be honest. But it has. I think the biggest thing about it is when one of your Paladramon or Dino Beamon would digivolve into this card, reduce the memory cost of this card by 2, so it becomes a 3, which is fine. It's kind of like the sweet spot. And then also has jamming, and then also when digivolving, unsuspend all of your Digimon with jamming, which means you can unsuspend itself. That's, I think, the biggest thing. So both Paladramon and Dino Beamon both have jamming, so you can swing with that jamming. It's going to live unless you hit like a Gaia Force, and then you can just digivolve into here. You untap itself, which is really great, and then you can just have some swings later. Also, Paladramon has an inheritable that if the Digimon has Imperial in its name, you're able to swing, untap. The first time you swing, you get an untap, so you get 2 jamming swings in the same turn, which, I mean, just by itself, if you play Paladramon, swing, if you already have it out, and then you can go into Imperial without switching to your opponent's turn, you can get 2 more jamming swings, which is just amazing. And I think it's just a really good finisher in a lot of ways. So like this can just like win you the game unexpectedly if your opponent's not expecting it. And I think it's a good card from there. It's still a little bit of a glass cannon, and getting to him is tough. But once he's out, I feel like you've got a really good foothold for the rest of the game. Next up is Blitz Greymon. It took a while for me to like this card too. I don't know why I didn't like the red-black cards for a while, but I like this guy a lot. He does a lot for us. He has piercing, which I think is just icing on the cake. But he is another 4 Digivolve cost on a 12. But he says when Digivolving, trigger Digivolve on one of your opponent's Digimon, and so like that's just really powerful. So like if you're doing like normally how it goes a lot of the time for Digimon is that you and your opponent both have your first Evo chain, and you try to Evo chain out each other. And so sure, this costs 4 to get there, but if you're able to do it, you're able to get 2 of your opponent's Digimon. Digivolve 2 can be really powerful because not only does your opponent have to have the cards to replace those cards, but then they have to pay the energy. So if you paid this for 4 energy, sure, or 4 memory, but if you're able to, if your opponent needs to pay, 2 memory and then 3 memory to go back up to their level 5, then you've kind of already outpaced them for it. So I like this card a lot. It does a lot for that, and then it's a 6, so it can go into Omnimon, either the OG one or the Alter S as well. So I think there's a lot of cool stuff that goes with him, and I just like him a lot. He's really cool, and he can really disrupt your opponent when they're not expecting it. Also, like you can win the game with him too. If your opponent like hard casts a blocker, giving you 4 memory, then you can just Digivolve. Or sorry, if they have a blocker out, and then you can Digivolve the blocker away, or it's just a bunch of stuff like that. It's good for removing kind of hard targets at times. For number 4, we've got Regna Lordramon. I can never get him right. Regna Lordmon. That's how I'm saying it. Let me know in the chat how or in the comments how I'm supposed to say it. But he's just a really cool big boy. He's a level 7. He can Digivolve on a 6 for 3 on either a black or a red level 6. He has carry attack +1, which is nice. He's got reboot, which is nice. And when Digivolving, you place 1 Durandamon or Bueda Ludramon from your hand on top of this card to reduce this card's Digivolution cost by 3. Essentially, you gain 3 memory. Sorry, that's the way to say it. And he just being able to do this for quote unquote free. Hand advantage is like really weird in this game. It's weirder than most games where you can have like a bunch of cards in hand and none of them are useful. But going able to go like -1 in hand to play this card for free is really nice, especially since one of those guys gives you, I think, piercing, and the other one gives you blocker. So having a 14k reboot blocker is amazing. and so you're able to just, do security attack +1, do a lot of damage, and then you can reboot, and then you have a blocker, and it could be just offensive. he protect and he attack, I guess. Is it too old to do that meme? I don't know, but he just has a lot of cool stuff. He's a good, there's some good targets for him in this as well. So Rurumon and also Blitz Greymon, both kind of fit this archetype as well, and I think he's just a really cool level 7. Going into the top 3, we've got Mastermon. If this was like, I know this is my personal list, but if this was like 100% cards I like, I'd put this at number 1. I really like this card for a lot of reasons. He's just so cool at being able to, from a deck building perspective, he does a lot of unique stuff. Being able just to be a level 6 that, digivolves on top of either a purple or a yellow is really cool. Purple and yellow has a lot of cool synergies, and being able to trash a card from the top of both players' deck and then play a card as well. That just means you can surprise lethal your opponent if they've got one memory or one security left, and you've got one guy out. They're like, okay, I'll be safe, I'll be fine. You can just do Mastermon next turn, get rid of their security, play maybe a yellow or purple blocker from your drop area, and then you've got 2 boys out. You're probably not giving your opponent a lot of memory by playing this, and then they got to figure out how to disrupt you from just going in for game next turn. So it's just really cool. I like it a lot. It does some cool stuff, and I've made 5 decks with this guy. It's super duper fun. Going to number 2, we've got Shinegreymon. This card just is what makes Digisorption worth it. Digisorption is already really good because you're able to, cheat out your guys really quick. But man, Digisorption into this guy just makes it broken. You can get this out really, really quick. Even though he's a Digivolution cost of 5, you can make it a 2, which is just, I feel like this should have been an Evo cost of 6. But just being able to do Digivolution for 2 for this guy, got a big 12k level 6, and I think he's overstated too. If he was 11k or 12k, or sorry, 11k or 10k, it would have been different as well. But being able to get this guy out, and then he has your turn once per turn when you suspend, when suspending Digimon for a Digisorption skill, you may suspend your opponent's Digimon instead, which is just being able to get a free flower cannon off of doing stuff. You do have to have the setup for it. You have to have the Digisorption cards, and you have to have something go into it, so it's not completely free. But man, when you just get one of these out and your opponent can't do anything about it, you just feel like there's nothing you do. You just don't want to hardcast it. You don't want to play dudes because they can be rested at a moment's notice, and this can just hit over it, and then you just slowly lose advantage from this. And if you don't get rid of this guy, you're just kind of you're out of luck. So I think he's very good at what he does. Helps Green out a lot because Green needed it, and definitely puts Digisorption decks on the map. And then lastly, we've got Shinegreymon. I think either one of these 2 can be the number 1 spot, just because they both invigorate a color that was doing poorly back in set 1. Yellow and green just had some hard times just because they didn't have a good card to go into. But man, these guys are just busted. They really help the color out, and they really give it a kind of an identity. And so Shinegreymon, when Digivolving, suspend all of your yellow tamers. For each tamer you suspend this way, activate the following effect. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4k DP for the turn, so you can board clear with this, which is really nice. Your turn, this Digimon gets plus 1k DP for every tamer you have in play. So it's, even with 2 or 3, this becomes a 13k, 14k, which is just absurd. And being able to potentially board wipe with this as well. Even if you just have 3 tamers out and they have a Shinegreymon out, you can Shinegreymon and then you just pop the Shinegreymon because you do 4k 3 times, which is 12k. And it's just very powerful. This is, this card's just great. It just makes the deck viable. It makes yellow tamers really good, and especially with Blitz Greymon really helping it out as well. I think this card's great. I think if Blitz Greymon didn't exist, this would still be okay, but not fantastic. But man, once with Blitz Greymon into this guy, it's great. Being able to play a tamer for free is good. Being able to have security attack +1 with this guy as well, because he can get up to really high DP without just by doing the stuff you're already doing. He's just a great card, and I think we'll obviously put yellow on the map for this next set as well. But that's going to be it for me. Let me know what you guys think about my ranking for these guys. Do you think I put them pretty fairly? Do you think I was either overconfident on a card or underconfident? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you guys are pulling for this set, and I'll catch you all next time.